Meanwhile, you might be thinking, do I need to rethink my bank? I mean, if you're in a regional bank right now, wow, let's get to this story. We're looking at a banking crisis 2.0 here. Well, I went through it on the front lines of 2008. And this is, again, reminiscent of that time. Jamie Dimon, who's the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, they just acquired or effectively saved First Republic, the bank that was about to go under. They did that over the weekend. And he's saying, okay, like everything's fine now. Everybody calm down. We've averted a crisis. But have we?
No, of course not.
No, we haven't, because First Republic is not the only bank out there that made bad decisions. SVB, not the only bank. In other words, lots of banks went really long on treasuries and they didn't hedge their bets. Those treasuries are not worth as much anymore. I mean, look, they'll pay out the principal theoretically, so long as we don't default. They'll pay out the principal. But if you were to trade those treasuries right now, they're worth less. They're worth less because interest rates are going up. So consequently, banks all over the country, what they're holding, if they have to liquidate it or if they have to mark to market, which is what they have to do, they don't have enough cash on hand to meet, in many cases, some of their own stress requirements. And so this is coming out. There's two banks. We'll talk about it later in the show as well. But PacWest is one. Western Alliance is another. Both really trading down today, down 21%, 28%. The thinking is that there's going to be more of these out there. And so that could be a real problem. And it could come at a time when there's really no easy fix from the Federal Reserve.
You see what keeps me up at night?
This is something that keeps me up at night. I'm actually quite worried about this. And I think they made these mistakes by printing too much money for too long, by having too much government spending, by having too many stimulus checks, and creating this inflationary environment where, of course, interest rates had to go up. Now, the Fed this week is supposed to be sort of like done, right? And that's the communication that we're anticipating. But I don't know if they can be done. I think the interest rates will have to continue moving higher because you're not going to be able to address this inflation. Now, simultaneously, while that's going on behind the scenes, all these banks are stuck with all these treasuries. They somehow believed the Kool-Aid and thought that it was just transitory, didn't really think inflation was coming. And so now their portfolios are not worth as much. So it could be a real problem. I encourage everybody to keep a very, very close eye on it.